Well, hello everybody. We are back with our son Bee Natter, and we've obviously got Alistair. And this week we're joined by Dan Stones, who, if you want to find him on social media, it's very, very good because it comes up as your Danando Creations. So you're on all of the Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you will find him. So hello, Alistair. Hope you're all right. And I'm
You?
going to say hello to Dan. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this afternoon.
Of
And
course.
for anybody who doesn't know you, Dan, my fellow Geordie, would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Dan. I was on season 11 of the Great British Bee. And I am pretty much the pain in your backside on social media. Yeah, I post pretty much daily, and people are like, "Oh God, is it him again?"
I love seeing when you get, I found this fabric and I need to make this. So,
Yeah.
yeah, anybody who hasn't seen you, they need to follow you as well because you do come up with some nice things. And you're also available, as we were saying before we started, you're coming to do a talk for me. So you're also available for talks. And with Caz and Stuart, you've got together and you do your social shows. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We do. We cross over quite a lot of the country. So obviously, I'm up north. Kaz is right in the Midlands, and Stuart is the next point that he is at is Wales. So we do cover quite a large triangle. So yeah, and the website is Making Taylor. You can get on there and buy tickets for the social shows. They are quite popular. So the last three have sold out. So it's yeah, we're doing really well. We really enjoyed it. We were looking for some way to like continue without
Mhm.
like it being like, hey, so and be, but it was something to continue sewing, and the people seem to really enjoy it. So do we.
Excellent, excellent. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, we're here to talk about this week's episode of the Sown Bee, and it was Sports Week, which is it can go one way or the other. Sports Week in the past, the
Hmm.
first thing that they had to do was the pattern challenge, and it was swimming shorts. To me, straight away, I thought of knickers because I thought you've done knickers earlier on, but it was men's swimming shorts. They had to have an elasticated waist. They had pockets. They had to deal with the mesh, not only as in the pockets, but also as part of their knicker bit, as I called it, and put in the cord. They had to have nice, neat hems. And they had to have the elastic folded into the waistband and the pants. I'm going to come to you, Alistair, first. What did you think of the challenge?
Well, what I want to know, Dan, did you get your care package?
My care package.
Yeah, did Kim not send you some Greg's sausage rolls?
No,
Oh,
no.
Kimberly,
Oh, right.
wow.
Okay, that's it. I'm logging off. Bye, guys.
She even sent me a
if
water
you,
as well.
Oh well, at least I know where I stand.
Well, there you go.
just wait till you come and see me at the end of September.
Oh, I can't wait.
Right.
Mine's a sausage and bean melt.
Okay, pet.
Well, the pattern challenge. So I uh, I did sort of enjoy it, but at the same time, seems to be quite a lot of menswear this
Mm,
season, or male clothing focus. So I think we need to give. I think obviously, I mean, I know there's a lot of men out there that do watch it, and yes, it should be part of it. But I just think with the audience, I'm presuming Sewing Bee attract, and obviously you and I, Kim, know from our TV sewing and also the trade shows that we've done, the predominant audience for this is predominantly female. Uh,
yeah.
so I'm a bit. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of scope you can really take menswear. But with women's wear, it can be a bit fantastical and a bit sort of like more interesting because I'm a women's wear designer, so obviously I'm biased. I thought it was a good project. Again, the fabrics that you would have to use aren't necessarily fabrics that you would normally choose.
Mhm.
It was interesting that a lot of them were having problems with their iron and they were a bit scared. I didn't see a single pressing cloth. Hashtag you
Mm.
can actually buy the Vaseline iron-on cloths at House of Alistair if you want one of those, which go transparent and you can see you work through it. Um, I found it interesting, but I'm finding as we're going along, I'm finding a lot of things a bit too samey. Whereas we had Knicker Week, where they were doing knickers, and there seems to be another across the weeks. There seems to be other elements. I thought they all did really, really, really well. Just my top tip with that is search for the appropriate elastic. Not all elastic is the same thing. So you can go to a local shop or a market store and you can get your 3mm wide 6-cord elastic if you wanted to. That will be fine. But if you can get some what we call soft touch elastic, it's even finer and it will go in, and it's got a really beautiful sort of like squidgy, spongy sort of elasticity. So it will just glide into that thing. Also, I didn't see any of them. The circumference of your elastic is always, sorry, I've got this London cold that's going around. Your elastic should be slightly smaller than the area you're putting it into. Divide it into 4 sections. So you've got your sort of like top and bottom, and you've got your, north, south, east, and west. Let's say that. Divide it into 4, divide your outer into 4, pin it, and then you know that you're stretching it exactly the same amounts all the way around. And just take your time. I did write down here, if you wanted to cheat, you could have made a little channel in the mesh and then threaded your elastic through and then zigzagged over the top of it if you wanted to slightly cheat a little bit. But I did enjoy it, and I thought who won. I thought Heather's were really really nice, and it just shows you that when you do choose a plain fabric, there are no places to hide. So she was very bold in her choice, and those are the types of trunks. I'd like them in red, please, Heather, if you're watching. But yeah, no, I thought they were very, very nice.
So Dan, what were your thoughts about the this particular challenge?
Jealousy. No. So for the sports week, I thought swimming shorts were a bit of a broad, like kind of like a. Basically, it's not very sporty. You can do sports in them, but it's not like a sport specific. So I think every male, unless you wear Speedos, has a pair of these shorts. So I can understand why they did it, because it pushes towards that demographic of everybody can relate. But I just want to touch on Alistair's point about the ironing cloths. They are provided in the room. We do have them there. But when it comes to, I didn't use it once the entire time I was there, because it's them 30 seconds it takes to walk around your desk to pick it out, to put it down, and then iron it. You're literally to the wire. And I sometimes I wasn't even touching. I was just steaming as I was going. And it's, so 90% of the time they do provide us with things like that, but it's not something that we use. We even have, like, I was watching the guys pushing the elastic through, attaching safety pins and then like feeding it. They had loop turners in there. We had loop turners. I still I have mine still.
Borrowed.
Yeah, I borrowed it.
And it's actually all the stuff that they use, and I know this for a fact because I can spot them a mile off, because I work very closely with Prim, are all Prim products, and they're really good quality. Even down to when they were putting the eyelets in, I actually have that particular machine for putting in. It's so easy, it's so good, it's so quick. All the harms are there. I think some of it's time, Dan, and I think some of it's education. If you don't know what something does, and you don't know how actually, yes, that 30 seconds walking around the table is actually going to save you 10 minutes unpicking. It's getting that happy balance. We're all guilty of thinking, oh, we can do without it. But I do know that the Vliseline products are in there. They certainly were. And that the Prim, I can spot the Prim products a mile off. So yes, it is a shame that they're not using the right things, and they're not. And they're not. You know, it's one of those hard ones, because Tim, for example, he got the little pleat in. I'm not being funny. If you've sewn a little pleat in, with the greatest of respect, you ain't going to iron that out. No. I mean, you can make it look a little bit better, But the top and bottom of it is the sewing stitch has creased the fabric.
Yeah.
You can't get it out, you know. So it's really fiddly. The mesh, I mean, I've got a little sum up store, and I've got the mesh, and I've got the prim bits and pieces on there. The mesh can be a bit of a beggar to sew with. However, it's really, really effective. Again, it's a time thing. I appreciate that. But change your foot to a walking foot. When you've got tricky fabrics, change your feet.
Because if they are provided.
Yeah. I was looking I always look really closely at the sewing machines. What are they doing? You know, you can just slow your machine down, change the foot. I know it's going to take 30 seconds a minute, but in your downtime, practice getting those feet on and off. And if you're sitting at home and we're not under that 3 hours, 45 minutes for the pattern challenge, then please walk around, get your pressing cloth, and use the right equipment. If you use the right stuff, I love a gadget, but if it's the right gadget and the gadget works, it's going to make your life so much easier. The elastic you were talking about was the Fram elastic, Alistair, which is lovely and soft. The Vliesely, and you've got that on the website, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got the Fram elastic, and we've also got 2 packs to give away later on today. But my other thing as well, when you're using that type of shell fabric, if you make a mistake when you're unpicking it, those holes are almost in there for life. It's a very unforgiving fabric. So just be mindful, measure twice, cut once. Same sort of principle before you sew it. If you're obviously no one at home will rush them, but that fabric, it's a bit like ripstop. So when you're sewing ripstop, as soon as you put a line of holes into it, those holes are, I mean, they'll disappear a little bit, but you will see a perforation line. So just be very careful when you're using those types of fabric.
And also consider changing your needle. Go to a slightly finer needle is going to make a smaller hole as well, which also helps. And the other little tip really is to look at the length of your stitch. If you go for teeny tiny little stitches and you have to make a mistake, oh my God, the last thing we all want is to be unpicking. Doesn't matter what fabric you're working with. So consider your stitches as well. I think they did a really good job overall. Did you agree, Dan, with the winner, which was Heather?
I did. I mean, it was a coin toss between the top, wasn't it? I think Beth also was phenomenal.
There was a slight imperfection. Yeah, she had a slight imperfection on her hem.
But then again, we see this. We said 10 seconds of their judging, and what really happens is we're standing there for like up to 2 hours. It's 15 minutes per person. And at one point, I think it was Career Week in the last season when we did the Cholics, I wasn't feeling very well, and I had to stand out. I had to go and sit down because I was going to pass out. We were standing there that long behind our garments while they were judging everybody. I mean, also I really messed up that day, so I was just looking for an excuse to exit. But they did so well, all of them fell for Minnie and for Adele, because these things just happen in the workroom.
Of course they do. It's one of those things. So I think it was really close. I mean, they were picking on the Adele's was marked really low, but it was down to a lot of them fell foul with their hems, a bouncy hem. She hadn't taken time to press. Had she been at home, Adele's, she would have pressed that pocket and it would have looked fantastic. She would have got a different review, I'm quite sure. But who sews with the stopwatch on? I mean, it'd be interesting if you got yourself a pattern and put a stopwatch on for 3 hours, 45 minutes. And as we established with Stuart last week, even if you want a wee, that's included in your 3 hours, 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And all the distractions as well.
Yeah. It is a distraction when the cameras are there and the presenter is coming and talking to you, but it does also, it makes you switch off slightly for a couple of seconds. A couple of times the story producers would come over and ask a question and I'd put everything down, and it was kind of a moment of like, center yourself, answer these questions and then get back to it. Yes, I'm losing 10 seconds there, but really I was struggling because I'd sewn my sleeve to my leg hole or whatever. Like it centered us a little bit.
Yeah. That's good to hear. So if we move swiftly on to the transformation challenge, now I always think of you, Dan, when I see the transformation,
Love a
because
transformation.
on your social media platforms, you will get something quite bizarre and obscure, and you turn it into something fantastic. This week, they actually gave them a bit longer, which I was pleased about, 1 hour, 40 minutes. However, you had to be in pairs and you couldn't choose the pairs, and they were given windsurfer sails, and they had to create 2 items of clothing that were cohesive. That one was a really hard one because the fabric's very stiff, although Esme was saying that they could have some real structure in that. One of my biggest things I saw, it was the machines again. But my first thoughts were you, Dan, when I saw this particular challenge. So what did you think of it?
I loved it. I did. I think that as much as the transformation challenge is widely the least favorite of the challenges, I think it's first and foremost we have to remember it's a TV show, and that the pattern challenge is you are testing your ability to follow a pattern. You have a level playing field because it's all very similar fabrics. The transformation is all about creativity, and a lot of home sewers are terrified of being like put on the spot. But when you're put into that pressure, stuff does come, and then obviously the made to measure is what it says on the tin. You make it to measure against a human. So I think each one has their rightful place on the show. Now, this particular transformation, I would have jumped out of my skin and been like, yes, something unconventional, knowing that I would have kind of a little bit of a head start because I'd done something like that before. But it wasn't all competition. And if any of the stores asked me, what kind of foot should I use? And I'd be like, oh, a Teflon foot or a walking foot. I would share that information, but I don't know how I would feel about being paired up.
Right.
The idea of not knowing who I was with, because each of these stores have a very specific kind of style that they do. Partner with somebody. I mean, put me and Stuart, for instance. I love Stuart so much. Partner him in a transformation challenge? Hell no. Because he's all about tailoring and shirts. And I'm all about, it doesn't matter if that's just a zigzag stitch. It's all about the creativity. And while Stuart's turning his corners out on his collar, like, you know what I mean? So we would never partner well together in that kind of scenario. So not being able to pick. Yeah. I don't know.
It was a real hard one. And obviously, I mean, I think they all did really, really well. It was quite interesting listening to Anna because she very much said, I'm not a team player. I mean, she made it quite clear, although by the end, her and Rebecca did particularly well. Now, because Alistair and I, in the past, have been heavily critical of the transformation challenges. And I thought about you last night as well, Alistair. What did you think of this particular challenge?
I loved what everybody produced apart from one team. And there was one clear, and I didn't agree with the ranking in the judging at all. I didn't mind this one. I just felt that when you're pairing people up together, I just think, I know they're trying different things, but this is a competition in which they're supposed to be judging the individuals. So it's all about the individuals. Now, like for instance, you could be paired up with somebody who's really good at sewing, for instance, or confident at sewing, and you're not as confident, but on that week you sail through because essentially that is, the outcome that you've done is fantastic because your partner did the lying share of what it was you were doing. I found it really difficult when they were actually judging this, and I found some of the comments about the outfits weren't cohesive. I don't really think they understood themselves when they set this up as a group sort of like challenge as to how they were actually going to critique. So if they had made it very clear that one person had to do the top, one person had to do the bottom, but the two had to come together to make a cohesive outfit. Not the fact that the two pieces had to be, they were looking for, like when Esme said about the plastic not being in the bottom of the skirt, and she wanted it, she felt that it should be down at the bottom of the skirt. Well, no, they were used all the pink, and there was colors from the top that they'd used in the puffball skirt as well. So yeah, so look, you've got the pink, which is the main thing. And in fashion, I mean, look, she's on the waistband, they've got the accent color there, and they've also got the accent color coming down. So just to pick on them to say, well, you didn't have any of the see-through plastic down here. I mean, it's, you know, it's an entertainment show and children may be watching it. So I don't think they want everybody's hoo-has and naughty bits on show if you had a big bit of perspex in a puffball skirt. So I just found it really, I just found it a bit odd. I didn't mind the challenge. I'm slightly warming to what they're using and repurposing this time round. Because it's not a load of new gear, which we've had issue with before. But I thought Rebecca and Anna's one, I thought was really cool. I thought it reminded me, it took me back to the 90s, stroke late 80s, early 90s. But I just thought it was really quite cool. I could see kids actually, you know, the club scene in London, I could see them, you know, in these types of outfits. So I don't think it was actually that far removed from what we're actually seeing in fashion at this present moment. But it's just showing you that you can use something that was that needs to be repurposed. Whether or not you could actually physically walk around in that, I think you would need to have a very soft lining inside, because I think you'd do more than chafing those trousers. I think so. I think you would cut your no bits to shreds, I think, in those bits.
Did you have a tent challenge, Dan? Was yours a tent? What did you have a tent in your season, didn't you?
So the excuse me. So the tent challenge was reduced to use recycle, and it was rescued tents from Reading and Leeds Festival.
That's right.
When I tell you that they were rescued, they were genuinely rescued. There were some questionable things left on those tents. So we knew that they'd been used. I did notice last night that the sails were in non-working order, let's say. So a lot of the holes and the eyelets were missing. There was bits of rope that had been torn through it. There was a couple with holes in, and I was like, they couldn't be used again for anything else. So they've kind of like recycled them, so to speak.
Genuinely, yeah.
Yeah. Now I kind of disagree with Anna, and this is nothing against Anna and Rebecca winning, because it was great. I loved what Minnie and Beth did. I thought it was more cohesive, and it was dramatic and big. And yes, fair enough, the skirt was wrapped around and a bit of elastic put in, but it's all about the concept. And I think that showed like a design flair. I think the reason that Anna and Rebecca took it was because of the construction of the top at the back. It was crisscrossed with the straps, and it was, Patrick said, it was a really unique way to do it, to make the top attach. And that's where it came from. So again, it was concept, not actual construction. So, and also I agree with the you couldn't wear them because you'd chafe, and it would also have to not be in the summer because wet.
Well,
I saw them try.
Anything that would come at you from, you know, if you were doing paintballing or something like that, you know, you'd be perfectly safe inside that outfit.
Yeah,
it was giving me sort of like Blade Runner, and sort of even like what was it called? Is it Fifth Element? No, yes. I keep getting it wrong.
Yes, there's Fifth Element and Hunger Games.
Yes, that's it. All of the above. It was giving me that. So, and having a 17-year-old teenage son at home, I'm quite in tune to hearing those types of programs screaming and blaring out of his bedroom.
I'm with you guys. I didn't agree that. I mean, don't get me wrong, they all did fantastic, but I loved Minnie's, and I loved the fans. I loved the way they went with it as well. Even the puffball, I actually completely I shouted at the screen when Esme said it wasn't cohesive, because to me the colours were cohesive. Yeah, it was an unusual challenge. The other thing that disturbed me, and I know it's jumping to the end, was when they were explaining why Tim went home. It was related back to that challenge. Well, it wasn't his challenge. If it had just been him on that transformation challenge, I could have accepted it, but it was a joint challenge. It was very, very funny. But interior design masters, they will double people up. And I think because they're trying to think of new things to do, although like you'll say, Dan, why change it if it's not broken? They are trying to think of new things to do, and they're pinching different ideas, but someone doesn't always
You see,
work on
if
the.
you if you look at it this way, if you look at the fashion industry, if you can count on maybe his two hands the amount of duo designers that are out there. Most designers are solo because it is a solo mind, and it's a vision and a concept. Yes, you've got lots of people around you helping you create that and make that happen, but to actually do it's because this was more so a design challenge rather than a sewing challenge. To force you to be like, I couldn't work with another designer to co-create a collection. I'm not built that way. I hold my hands up, and I can work in a team, no problem. But if you ask me to co-design with somebody else, it's like I have a very channeled vision, even when I'm designing stuff that I've been commissioned to design, which aren't necessarily what I do as House of Alistair or what I would illustrate and do. But when you're commercially designing, I still wouldn't be able to work with somebody else. I wouldn't enjoy that two are better than one aspect, because I don't think it's just not right, especially on a program where you're being judged.
Well, they did it with the channel. I think it was Channel 4. It was Vernon Kay presented this sewing program. It was all to do with Marks and Spencers. They basically got a contract with Marks and Spencers, and they doubled them up. But they had a little bit more time from a designing point of view and collaborating point of view. They sat with a cuppa effectively and decided what they were going to do and how they were going to do it to have their little collections. They were given 1 hour 40 minutes, and in that 1 hour 40 minutes, it's grab the stuff you need and come up with an idea. That's not a lot of time to thrash ideas out, really, is it?
No, I think that the reason they gave the extra 10 minutes, just from experience in the room, I feel like what they've done is they've said, they've come in, it is exactly how you see it. They walk through the door, oh my gosh, there's a sale. That's what we're doing. They then explain what they want. And then before they say go, sometimes the sewing producer comes in and says, okay, guys, so you're going to get the extra 10 minutes. Those extra 10 minutes will be for you to stand around and have a talk about how you want to construct it. Then the clock starts, your 90 minutes is then, because every one of them went to a table and was like,
yeah,
and they were designing something. That never happened for me. I was always a draper. So I think the 10 minutes was a design, was to give them the time to design something and make sure that it was cohesive. Because if you just throw them into the boiling pot, you're going to get two things that are, it wouldn't be as good in the outcome, because the things wouldn't be cohesive.
No. And the other thing was, I mean, a lot of them had problems on the machines, wrong foot. A lot of people were breaking needles for fun. I mean, it's great to change your needle every 5 to 6 hours of sewing time, and it's great to use the right needle, but they definitely needed something like a denim or a jeans needle or a Microtex needle on that particular challenge. So they had that stress when the needles were breaking as well. And the thickness of the fabrics, I think one of them actually, I think it was Minnie and Beth, when they were putting the fans in, there was so much fabric going into that machine. A standard machine with the teeth up just couldn't cope with it. It needed a walking foot to ease it, to grapple it through. But it was different, completely different. But yeah, let's
just
let's.
a little note on what you said there, Kim. And anyone who's going to try and replicate what they did on the sewing bee, just have an air of caution. Please, please, please test a little bit out before. Most domestic sewing machines are not equipped to punching through that thickness of fabric, even at a single layer. These are manufactured in very specific workrooms, and they use mainly industrial flatbed machines, which you can see in the background in Dan's house there.
Yeah.
Mine's in front of me here. But though an industrial machine is built to be able to get through thicker pieces of fabric. But even in factories, we have specific machines that do specific jobs for specific weights of fabric. So it's not just one machine fits all. Just be very, just be very, very careful, because we don't want anyone hurting themselves.
No, that's right. And when that needle breaks, I mean, there was a couple of instances last night where you saw them react, because sometimes the needle hits something and it snaps up and it flies up. But you're absolutely right. You know, your domestic sewing machine is it's what it says on the tin. You can use the right needle. You can use, you know, a different foot, but it's not going to compete in any way, shape, or form with an industrial machine. Dan, you do a lot of shall we say, recycle, repurpose designs, and you use completely different fabric. Now, you've got a Singer, haven't you, as well as the flatbed?
Yeah, so I have Bobbin Williams, which is my flatbed. I have Thread Flintstone, who is my serger, and I have Thready Mercury, which is my Singer machine. Now, the only thing that I use Thready for is buttonholes, zigzag stitch, anything that this bad boy can't do, which is not a lot, really. There's only the buttonholes and the zigzag stitch that I would ever need Thready for. But I do need to have that there. But yeah, this Bobbin Williams, you can put anything through him. Like, he's sewn some beastly things. Yeah.
So you're absolutely right, Alistair. You know, people have got to be wary. These programs are fun, and yes, I mean, if you live down where I live, I'm sure there's a few, you know, wind sales going, but do consider how you're sewing them. Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we go on to the made to measure, last week we had a couple of giveaways. So the winners, and I've already messaged you on YouTube. Now, can I say, if you get a message on YouTube to say you've won, it's to email sales@six-penny.com, which is me. It isn't a scam. I promise you, you've won something, because we've got a couple of people on previous weeks who've maybe thought, what on earth is this message? But this week's winners for last week's prizes, shall we say, is Christine, it looks like O'Byrne, and Angela Tarrant. So I've already sent you a message to say you've won. So send me your delivery address, and I'm saying email me, and then we know where you are. And Alistair, do you want to explain what we've got for a giveaway this week?
Yeah, so just to mention all of the previous winners, we now have a list, and they'll all be going out, so don't worry. You will all get your prizes. So this week, because we had the swimming shorts and we didn't have this in time for the knicker challenge, we've got 2 packs. This is called Framelastic, and this is by Viseline. Now it's 9mm in width, and it is a 5-meter pack, so it's 100% PU. Now, you can use this in your bra making if you wanted to. You can use this in your knicker making. You can also use it for gents swimming shorts. You can use it for all sorts of things. Also, if you've got that bra at home, which you can take the straps off, but you might be a little bit more well endowed on the top, and you need a little bit of extra lift, separate and support, you can actually change it to this, because it's slightly opaque. It won't be completely invisible,
see-through,
it's see-through, so it's better than having a great big old bra strap. attached there, so you could make some new bra straps for your favorite bra. So yeah, really useful. You can zigzag this on, it goes in the washing machine. This actually is quite good in terms of lasting, because the corded elastic sometimes breaks down when it gets laundered too many times, and especially if you use it in a tumble dryer. Anything elastic is always best to let it air dry itself. Don't force it to dry. But yeah, we've got two of those. All you simply need to do is leave a comment in the comments box below, and the lovely Kimberly will choose 2 people at random for a comment. And you can always just put a thumbs up or an emoji. It depends what you're feeling or what have you. But yeah, that's this week's giveaway.
It's also great because it doesn't deteriorate in chlorine as well.
Yeah.
And if you ever need to make a face mask or an eye mask, it's really so soft. I mean, I use that all the time when I was making face masks. I still do. And for an eye mask, I'll use that rather than, you know, the other elastic that you can get, because it doesn't hurt your head. So yeah, it's excellent giveaway. So thank you very much for that, Alistair.
I'm just putting the emoji on the chat now.
Okay. Perfect, because he wants them.
Yeah, I need a new bra strap. I'm still carrying a little bit of COVID weight.
Oh, nice to know.
Love your tap. It's a snake, isn't it? Are you going round? Yeah, you're going to do a twirl?
Again, talking about not using fabric that is usual. This was upholstery fabric, and I found it was dead stock, and I just cut holes out of me hoodie that I'd made, and just
looks fabulous.
Put it in the back.
Absolutely. Did you use, which machine did you use?
This was all zigzagged on, so yeah,
thready. Yeah. So we're going to go on to the made to measure. And the made to measure was a bowling shirt, which is not exactly fitted, but it was a bowling shirt. And I'll talk about this later. It had to have some applique on and some free motion embroidery. They wanted a sport or interest on the back, and they wanted it to tell a story. And they also wanted on the front the name. It had to be intricate and impact. It had to be beautifully made. And they wanted a clear design that told the story of the sport and the meaning of them. Dan, we talked about made to measure before we came on air. What did you think of this particular challenge?
Well, it would have been nice, but I would have been going home at this stage. I think it's this week was a real strange one. I don't know why they've picked these challenges. Yes, bowling is a sport, but swimming shorts, wind sails, and then bowling shirts. When I think sports, I don't think of any of those 3. It just seems like they're like, are we running out of ideas? They're just picking things now. So the embroidery is something that was a first. I don't think I've ever seen it on the Bee. Shirt, I think pretty much all sorts have made a shirt before. So what they're judging here is yes, it's made to measure and it has to fit, but it's the design and what you've come up with. And I think it goes without saying that Anna's was fantastic, what she produced, and that's why she won. Because
but is that a sport? Cooking?
No, but did it have to be a sport? Because is badger hunting, not badger hunting, badger patrolling a sport? Rebecca, was it not just an interest that they had to put on?
It was the other thing I'd like to see, with the greatest of respect, is the insides, because when you're doing all that free machine embroidery and you're doing all that applique, it's going to be really itchy on the inside, because you had all those threads, you had all sorts going on. It'll have looked like a dog's dinner on the inside of that shirt.
Would have.
Yeah, I mean, Alistair, would you have done the applique first and then made the shirt? Or would you have done it the other way around?
Definitely do the applique before, because you just have so much control. I mean, this is where, like I can take a set of measurements from somebody, I can design an outfit, I can then plot it, cut a pattern, and then I can make it. So I've done everything from sort of start to finish. And I had to, because I wasn't a student that had parents who could buy in all the technicians for me at university. So I had to learn all those. And I'm glad I actually did, because it's actually made me more mindful when I'm actually getting work done in factories and things. With Dan, I actually found, if you actually plot out Sports Week and then you see what they've chosen for this week, it's a bit sort of like I think somebody's overthought outside the box, and I just don't think they've necessarily brought it all together. And the feeling I'm getting as well is, like, for instance, when we usually have, like, for instance, when it's movie week, they give a brief description as to that it's got to be something for the red carpet or something like that. Oh, she's off for a pint of Newcastle Brown Ale.
Yeah, I'll have one.
You've sent me the London cold.
I know. Well, I send you London letters, don't I? So you know,
you do.
may send you the cold as well. I just find the end challenge, they're getting very specific in what they're actually telling them to do, whereas beforehand it was, they gave a brief and it was more of an exciting interpretation of you being able to really sort of choose and make your personality through sewing shine through, whereas it's a bowling shirt, so they had to make a bowling shirt, and then the design element, if you like, is essentially, they should have just given them the pattern. They shouldn't have had to have gone out and sourced a pattern. It should have just been, here's the pattern for it, because the fit of those, it's a loose fit. None of bar one of them, bar two of them, so Minnie and Anna, with that type of shirt, it's very important. You need to check the hip measurement. You got me out now.
Sorry.
The hip measurement, it's supposed to come from A-line, from underneath the armpits, and it's to cascade down. And with bowling, because you're throwing a ball down an alley, it's not to restrict any movement at all. That's why the shirt is oversized. It's like basketball shirts. Some of them were sitting proudly on the hip, and it just meant you had all this excess wobbly fabric in the middle. I'm struggling with the made to measures, because I don't, as a couturier, I'm not seeing much fitting going on. I'm not seeing them really fitting it to like the model, when I can see glaringly that fabric wants to move up this way, or it needs to be cleared out over here, or we need to clean an armhole out and actually properly fit it. It's like, and Esme and Patrick are going, oh, it's an amazing fit. And I'm like, have you seen the back? It's too long in the back. So it wasn't my favourite one.
I think what they should have done is, it's a bit like a transformation challenge-esque, given them all bowling shirts and said applique and embroider on them, because ultimately they all made the same thing. Whereas I'm used to them making, you know, a gown for the runway, a gown to go to a film premiere, or do you know what? Or the summer outfits. I mean, I'm sure, Dan, you had completely different briefs for your made to measures.
Oh, without a doubt. And some of the sewers didn't stick to them at all. Like, and they were praised for thinking outside the box. Not that I'm bitter. I'm not, actually. Who I'm talking about is Caz. Versace Week. She went with I'm not really a fan of Versace or that era, so I'm gonna make a Dorothy dress. And she won, because that garment was amazing, and it had like little aspects of it. But the briefs that we get now, we're getting to the crunch line now. So when I was on the Bee, we were given, just before we started filming, I think we were given up to week 5. And now I had practiced heavily week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and I think I practiced twice for week 5, but then we started filming. And the filming is quite difficult. It's quite a long time we are there. Like, some days we were getting up at 6 a.m. to be in the studio for 7, and we weren't getting in until 9:30 on a night. I was literally ringing my partner and going, oh, we filmed today. I'm tired. That's all I've got. I'll see you tomorrow, because we were doing it all again the next day. So it is quite time.
Yeah.
So when people say, when the sewers say, we haven't practiced this, we at that point now, and I bet it does get said. Some of the sewers do say it. We also have to remember that we, as contestants, we are all just home sewers. We're not professionals. So these fits, these easy mistakes that they're making, it's because they don't know. And it's hard because I know I walked into that sewing room and I'd never put an invisible zip in my life. And people go, how could you not have done an invisible zip? It wasn't my forte. And they picked me because they liked what I did, which was stretch fabrics and and my work with a zigzag stitch. So I know it's hard to say. It's easy to say, well, that doesn't fit. And then but the reason for that is because these people haven't done it for anybody else but themselves. I hadn't.
Yeah. I just think that this particular made to measure challenge is the one out of all of the series that we've covered, Alistair, I actually didn't think it fitted into the made to measure category. Because I've never seen them where they've all I can't ever remember, and I might be wrong, where they've all been told to make a bowling shirt, and a bowling shirt is pretty much a standard, shape. And it was obviously to allow them to put the applique on and the free motion quilting. Well, that to me wasn't made to measure. That applique in quilting and free motion embroidery does sit in, and it embellishes and enhances a garment that you might have made. But that isn't, personally, that wasn't the made to measure challenge.
Might have been better to do it as a pattern challenge.
Yeah, I
Mm.
think that's I think that's more to do with, I think what they've done is when they've brainstormed and they've come up with all the ideas for the transformations, all the ideas for the pattern challenges, who they've got booked in, who they're confirming, what's going to actually happen, who the contestants are, and whether or not has anybody got any sort of like experience, who's going to excel at a certain thing. Are we challenging everybody sort of like equally enough? But I think this bowling shirt, I think it didn't go in as a pattern challenge because of the additional stuff they were asking them to do, which was the embroidery, which then meant they gave them 5 hours rather than I think the pattern
3.5, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think it didn't quite fit into the 3.5 hour. So they obviously decided to then move it up. But I don't agree with the decision, because I get quite excited when it comes to the made to measure, because once we got the beginning, the pattern challenge out of the way, and you sort of think, oh, I think such and such is having a bit of a bad week, or they've edited it in a way to tell you, because I got it completely wrong this week. I'll show you the name that I wrote at the top at the very beginning, but it didn't turn out that way. I'm just finding I'm not actually finding it's very prescriptive now. They're spoon feeding me now, but they're spoon feeding me what these people's personalities are, and I'm not actually engaging with the contestants as I have previous seasons. But I'm not understanding what their personality is. I don't understand what sort of like, I mean, yeah, I get a bit of notion when they're choosing colors and things like that, but I don't really know whether or not they're a big flamboyant type of like person, or I think it's becoming very diluted, and I don't understand what's going on. I don't know whether or not they're trying to maybe appeal to a younger audience, perhaps. I don't know, but I've got a bit of sort of like news for them. Yeah, there are younger people coming into sewing and choosing it as hobbies, but genuinely or generally younger people, because I have one at home, their hobbies are technology based. They're gaming, or I don't know one young person that doesn't do some form of gaming. My son is is strapped to a computer most of the time. They're not. We had, you know, he always went to scouts because I always found that important, but I don't see them doing craft like it sort of stops like halfway through primary school, which is really such a shame. I just don't know how we're going to engage that younger audience, but I don't know I don't know what direction they're trying to go in.
I think where I've lost the excitement of made to measure, to give a brief, it could be that you're going to, let's say, the theatre or, you know, a runway, and you can see what somebody would come up with. So in your season last year, and we're only talking last year, Dan, we're not talking years ago, you've got no flexibility really with these. It's a ball and shirt. Whether you like it or not, you're making a ball and shirt. Yeah. Whereas in your season, you could make a dress, you could make a top, you could make trousers, there's all sorts of different outfits you could have made. How do you feel about that?
It is kind of putting you into, you have no choice, you're doing this, and it sort of funnels your creativity into that point. Like if it had happened to me, I would have felt a little bit like, oh, well, I guess it's like a mute week for me. But I think that the challenges, it's very difficult to come up with the challenges for this show, especially something fresh and new. The production team, like, I think they nail it half the time. It's just every now and then a one like this slips in and I'm like, what happened? Like, I mean, I would have enjoyed it. I would have absolutely enjoyed it, and I probably would wear it. But it is what you're saying. It's not as creativity, and it's not as creative, and it is funneling the sewers into doing what production want them to.
Yeah. And because it seems to have been quite orientated this week, because the men's swimming shirts and the bowling shirts, yes, women can wear bowling shirts, but it's predominantly a man's garment. I would have liked to have seen a proper man's week. You know, aim for men, create something, because there's so much that you could have done and just widen that brief. To me, this week, when I think of sports, I'm a bit like yourselves. Those three sports would never ever I wouldn't have guessed them. You know, when you go interview 100 people and name your top three sports, I can't say that many people would have come up with those three. So yeah, it was a very difficult one. I was a bit underwhelmed this week, I'll be honest with you. However, the applique was great. When they were zigzagging or couching on the wool, the spaghetti, I thought Anna's was brilliant. How she brought it from the back to the front. I think she did really well. And Minnie, God love her, what she's used is not a wash away. When she fused the stuff on, you can get a product called Fuse and Tear, which is, next time she needs to be using that. So what happens with that one, it messes with your brain because you can fuse it onto your fabric, on the front of the fabric, and it tears off. It's a bit like stitch and tear, but it sticks. She could have also used any of the water solubles. The Solufix is another Vliseline one. So your Solufleece doesn't stick down. You would just sew on it, and you could either put that on the top or you could put that underneath. And the Solufix does stick, so it would have stabilised it. When I saw what you'd done, oh, bless her. I could have cried. Well, I could have cried for her. I really could have done, because it's beggared. There's nothing it's not going to come off. She might be able to heat it up at home, because once she heats it up at home, the glue will come off. But I think ultimately with that dark fabric, it'll always have a shadow of a mark on it.
At that point, she's... I sat back and I was like, oh my God, she's done it. And I can see she's spiraling and she's worried and she's bursting into tears because she knows she's messed up. But when that happens, you don't start thinking straight. And I've been there. I know. I got kicked out in week 6 for Kids Week when I was trying to make trousers, shirt, and a jacket. Who does that in 3.5 hours? Like, stupid. But she should have leaned into it and gone, oh, well, that's happened. I'm now going to cut triangles of the same fuse, and I'm going to do it all the way over the shirt. I'm going to do it along the front. And then that time she spent trying to clear that off has changed it into, it's now a design feature. Not how she started off, but she could have taken it that way. And I sat like this, like just put some more on, put some on the sleeve, like do something to make it go in. And then obviously when it come down to it, I love Minnie.
Yeah.
Minnie. I know I shouldn't say it, but Minnie is one of my favorites. I think she's great. And I was like, no, don't do it. Don't send her home. Like, yeah, I really felt for her.
I mean, I must admit, I did feel for her. I do worry when because we talked about previously with Mitch in, I think it was our second episode. As bees, you've put out something about be kind, and people aren't kind, and they attack people like that. I wish they would start and show less, because Minnie was distraught. I thought Sophie, the presenter, when she gave her a cuddle, that was absolutely fantastic. It was more or less, get a grip, girl. And when she made the decision to, right, I've wrecked it, I'm going to carry on and do what I did, I thought, oh, thank goodness for that, because at least you're going to rescue it. And let's be right, our design was amazing. It was impactful. It worked.
That was my favorite. I've written down here, I've written Minnie, love, love, love. It had a great fit. The shape was beautiful. The fabric she had used was so complimentary. Now, also with something like this, because you've got a really heavy embroidery section on there, you need a fabric that's not flimsy, that's going to collapse and look as if, why have you stuck this big, rucksack on my back type of thing. You're going to want something that's going to stand up to it. So her fabric choices were absolutely ace. I thought that use of that extra wide shoelace was beautifully sewn on. Hers was my absolute favorite. And to be perfectly honest, sometimes the mistakes that you make within the design world or pattern world are some of your biggest achievements. And in this instance, if that was a prototype, I actually think if that shirt was going to be made for a particular club, I think they would print that ice effect on the bottom and actually put it as an actual feature. Because I know it was a mistake, but in actual fact, I wrote down before they panned to Patrick, I said it looks like ice. So in actual fact, I don't think it's the biggest. I don't think it was so wrong. I mean, obviously when she tried to remove it, it did then look a little bit more patchy. But in actual fact, that was my absolute favorite. I did like Anna's. That was very Moschino. So very Jeremy Scott, very tongue-in-cheek, with this coming all the way round. And if you don't know who Moschino is, they do the perfume bottles that are like, I call it the Scooshy Window Cleaner, like the Mr. Muscle bottle. That's one of the, and then they also do a teddy bear that has the fragrance in it as well. So they do a lot of very, very, very fun things. And the head designer there is Jeremy Scott. So it's very, very much, and again, Moschino is black, white, and red. So I thought it was absolutely beautiful. The fit on the other ones, it was just such a shame, because all they needed was an extra 1.5 inches either side, and let the shirt fall, and just to go over the hip. So. But again, I'm just confused that was a made to measure, because all the emphasis was on the embroidery. And I'm like,
it was.
But it should be the fit of the shirt. And I just think, like Minnie on when she did that Chloe thing with the black stitching, that really showed her personality. And I thought, actually, do you know what? That's really quite clever. But I'm not. Yeah, I'm. As you can tell, I'm still struggling to find some of the personality bits coming through.
I think, Dan, I'm with you, because Minnie's one of my favourites. She does show her emotions on on her sleeve, basically. And she has had some. Now, whether she's just been the only one, but they've certainly featured quite regularly over the last couple of weeks when she's had a bit of a disaster, and she does react, which is just her personality. But do you know what it is? When I saw that bowling shirt and I saw that lace, I thought, you're one to watch, really, because you've got some really, really good ideas, and she's had some excellent ideas. And times everybody's enemy in that place. But I think she's one to watch. She might go all the way to the end as our mini. Yeah.
If she'd embraced that ice effect on the back of that shirt, even if she'd taken the glue and done this with two things and appliqued it made it go into the skater that was in the middle, so it looked like it skated through the ice. If she'd leaned into it, she would have been nipping Anna's heels for that win.
Oh, definitely.
That of the week. It was
definitely.
It was amazing. It was amazing. That's not taking anything away from Anna, because it is what it is. It was amazing, but she would have been chasing her.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. Like you say, Alistair, I think our colour choices were amazing, and I do think how she executed it as well. And she was really good on the sewing machine. And once she'd got over that, right, it's a mistake. If she'd been at home and if she'd had the time, she would have. It was either start again, or and she wouldn't have carried on with all of that embroidery. She would have had the time to do that back panel again, or alternatively, like we say, if that had all been done and then the shirt constructed, all she would have had to do, I'm saying all, but it was just the back panel to cut back out. Because to me, if I was doing anything like that, the other thing you've got to consider when you're doing applique and free motion embroidery is sucks the fabric in. So those shirts, those boards may have fit beautifully before they put the applique on. And they were putting quite a lot of fabric in and a lot of stitches. When you do applique, it brings it in because none of them were stabilising it. There was a couple that had stabiliser underneath. And this is where Minnie went wrong. She knew she needed something there. She just used the wrong product. Now, she might have just picked the wrong product up. I have no idea. But yeah, my tip would be, and Alistair's reinforced it at the beginning, particularly the big applique, do it before you do the cutout. And then you can actually bring things into the seams and you're not going to see the joins because you can't take things over the seams effectively. Bring them in.
Just a quick...
Sorry, go on, Alistair.
No, on you go, darling.
So I would say, so I am a social media fiend, and I have spent a little bit of time today looking through some of the comments and people saying, why did she not test that? Why did she not test that stuff that she's used on that thing? And it goes back to what I was saying before about not having time. Yeah. She's made that shirt. She's absolutely made that shirt to practice before she's gone on the show, but it's been a different product. It's not, you can't use the same thing all the time. So I know I've already said I love Minnie, but I'm defending her, but I don't think it was massively her fault. The time frame to practice is not enough.
The other thing is, though, I'm not being funny and being somebody who knows the Vliesleen products inside and out, and I know that they have them there. But you look at your fusibles, it's a load of white stuff. And who's to say she just didn't pick up the right white stuff?
Mm-hmm. I've done exactly that.
Yeah, but we've all done it because, for example, yes, your stitch and tear is not fusible, but you get something like an H180, your F220, these are all lightweight interlinings, they're fusible. Your G700 is fusible. If you get one that isn't fusible, and I'm sure in the cold light of day, it was a pure pick the wrong thing up and it's a load of white stuff. But all made mistakes.
What makes it even worse is the judges were talking to her when she discovered it. So they've just ran with it and it's instantly hit her and they've caught it totally as it happened in real time. Not like sometimes you hear it because obviously we're all mic'd up. So they have the recording of the audio. So sometimes you hear somebody go, oh God, I've messed up. And then it cuts to the camera going to them. This was real time. She discovered that at that moment.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart broke for her.
Mm-hmm. And I have to say, as much as I hate the bit of going home, and Dan, I think you're the same, I was praying that Minnie didn't go home. I was like, please, 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 I do not want Minnie to go home. She didn't deserve to. Mm-hmm. But, Dan, I'll come straight to you. What did you think of Garment of the Week and who actually went home?
I loved Garment of the Week and I did absolutely smash it out of the park. And she's definitely, I would say, one of the front runners now she's being chased. The idea of having the spaghetti that hung and had movement on the back. So clever and cool. Tim's was not bad, but again, if he'd done it in sections where he'd had the back, there was nothing that ran round Tim's. So he could have done the back panel and just everything would have been in. But I think production may have told them to construct your shirt and then applique, because not one of them did it the other way around. Now I would have done it exactly the same as what Alistair said and do it the panels and then sew your shirt together. It also makes it more difficult, and you are coming to the end of your challenge and you haven't done it, like what happened with Tim. There's nothing you can do about it at that point. But he might have had a shirt that was in 5 different pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is a hard one. It's time. It's always time, isn't it? Alistair, did you agree with the garment of the week and who went home?
I did agree with the garment of the week. I'm not taking anything away from Anna, but Minnie's was my favorite. It was just I just thought the execution, I mean the skater and everything like that, I just thought was absolutely top notch. Just a little quick tip before, if you're doing something like Minnie and you're wanting to transfer lettering that, say you freehanded out and you don't know how to take it from a piece of paper onto what have you, get a bit of tissue paper, or the thinnest paper you can get. Wrapping paper is a good one. All you need is some really cheap hairspray as well, and a foam pad. It can be a kitchen cushion if you want. Write it out and then get a ballpoint pin, and then you literally pin all the way around the design. Get some chalk that you've maybe got a little bit, shave a little bit off so it goes into a powder. You can use talcum powder as well. But tailor and chalk is best. And then get an old makeup brush and literally brush through the holes. When you lift the paper up, it transfers the chalk and it gives you your stencil, if you like. And if you're only doing one, you don't need all the special kit and caboodle and what have you. That's an easy way. And everyone's got wrapping paper, hairspray, chalk, a pin, and time. So
that's excellent.
Home. But yeah, I thought it was right that Tim did go home. I do agree with Dan and what we said before. If you make the shirt up and you're appliquing onto a garment that's already made up, that is the most difficult thing to actually do. And the thing is, you're never going to get anything perfectly placed unless you stretched it out and got a big ginormous hoop, which doesn't exist. It's just not going to work. It's just it's not the right way to do it. But I did think it was time for Tim to go. I just think sometimes I can see where he's thinking, but sometimes the end result doesn't always reflect the fantastic idea that he's always had. And he did admit last night, well, not admit, but he opened up and said, I haven't been sewing for very long. And I just
2 years, yeah.
And I just think, to be honest, we all look at professionals that do this, that, and the other. And you want to be where they're at, but they've been doing it for 20 years. So just sit back, be really proud of what you've done and achieved, because I think in another year, if you keep going and you keep doing it, all the mistakes you make, it just builds you a stronger sewer and a stronger person.
And I think, Dan, go on, sorry. I think you'll probably agree with that, because whereas you did, some sewing beforehand, you're probably in a completely different place now to what you were the day you left the show.
Absolutely. The stuff I learned in the show was invaluable, definitely. I think the Tim, it was his time, unfortunately. But like you say, Alistair, he's not been sewing for very long. And let's face it, he made some absolute crackers. Last week, that male festival Mexican, he was clipping for garment of the week. He was the pattern matching down the front, the trim in the sleeve, the trim down the trousers, using velvet for his trousers. What? Like the guy obviously can sew. It's just a shame that the time ran out for him this week.
Yeah. So he was the last man standing. So we are definitely going to have a female winner. have you got, I mean, at this time when we're starting to ask people, it's a real hard one at the beginning. Have you got any predictions, Dan?
They are raving about Anna, and rightly so. She is great. I think Anna is a shoe-in for the final. I think Beth is also really phenomenal. So, but all of them. Heather has won a pattern challenge and garment of the week as well. She's up there. Adele, I love Adele. Like I genuinely like them all, and all of them are great. It just depends on what the challenges are going to be, and if they can.
Yeah.
So Anna could have a really easy route because she likes the corsetry and the obviously that one that Patrick said it's the best thing they'd ever seen in the Zone B.
How offended were you when they said that?
I boycotted. I was all over Facebook saying I call shade. Like, yeah, I was, yeah, not happy. No, rightly so. It was great, but I think they're all really good, and Minnie is so good. Honestly, like, she is one of my favorites. Even if she doesn't get to the final, like, she's still going to be one of my favorites.
Yeah. Alistair, what did you write on that bit of paper at the beginning that you got totally wrong?
Oh yeah, I did get it totally wrong. So right in the very top, you probably can't see it there. I actually wrote Minnie going home, and that is on page 1, and that's where it said Sports Week, men's sewing shorts, and what have you. And it was just obviously I was writing down here, but I was just looking at the way that they were editing. It was a bit of a. I'm glad she has stayed. She has been consistent, and her technical sewing is definitely there, and you can definitely see it. And I think, Minnie, if you are watching, you need to go and buy your husband some nice cakes or something to say thank you for getting you that awful sewing machine, which has led to you to be, on television. Good on you, man. But if you buy her a Hoover, she will kill you. But literally, Anna, I can see, Anna, I'm not taking anything away from Anna at all. I'm just in my head, I'm just thinking, and I'm trying to and I'm just overthinking it. I think Beth is a real contender. At the very beginning, I thought Rebecca, because they spent a lot of time on Rebecca, but as weeks have gone on, some of Rebecca's fabric choices for me are not my favorite choice for the end result, but that's just a personal preference. But Beth, she's been this sort of, like, we've seen quite dark horses in the wings who haven't really shone until we've gotten about halfway through, because they are going
business end.
So it's very interesting now to see. But then Adele as well.
I think you could have an argument for all of them really for staying. I'll be honest with you. I think they've all done well, and I think next week's going to be.
I'm going to say Beth.
You're going to say Beth. Well, next week,
Beth.
Next week on Kids Week, which was probably not your favourite week.
See ya.
I'm sorry, he's off. We'll not talk about children.
No.
They've got dancewear, fleeces, and outfits to save the day, which I think are superheroes.
Wait, they've got dancewear. I'm back in.
Dancewear. Yeah, you're back in. Dancewear.
Yeah.
I think the pattern challenge is dancewear, but it might not be. Dancewear, fleeces, and outfits to save the day is the made to measure. So yes, we'll see what happens then. So what I'm going to say, Dan, is a humongous thank you for joining us this afternoon and sharing some insights and your opinions about the Great British Sewing Bee. Long may it last, because do you know what it is? It doesn't matter how good or how bad a sewing or craft programme is, it gets people interested and it gets people thinking about it. And just have a try. That's what I always say. Give it a try. And
Absolutely.
if you want to be inspired about some of the things that your man over here makes, Get onto his socials. Because
Mm.
we can turn anything into anything.
The amount of messages that I got, one of the main things I take away from the show is the amount of messages I got from particularly men that said, I never sewed before, and then I saw you on the show and thought, like, yeah, I'll give it a go. And now they're sending me pictures of shirts they've made and them in Disneyland when they bought a Disney bedding set and they've made a shirt and they made a dress for their little girl. And I take so much from that. And if I can take anything away from it, is that I've inspired somebody to sit at the sewing machine.
That's right. And I think that's what you've got to do. It's very inspirational. But thank you once again. And I'll see you at the end of September.
You shall. You shall.
Because you're coming to me to...
I am.
Not me personally, can I say? Yes, but you're coming to the Linskill Centre. I will be advertising and letting people know in the Northeast, you see. And I'll see you. I'll see you soon, Mr. MacDonald.
Yes, another one of your gentleman friends, Kim.
What are you like? Right, we'll see you next week. I'm just trying to hit the buttons. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.